little skeletons, it is Disney Queen Skelly here. And good morning to you all. We have two things going on today. We have hubby and I getting our taxes done, and then hubby and I are actually going to go to Disneyland to celebrate food and wine. It is currently almost 8. It is currently almost 8 in the morning. We are exhausted. He's not getting up for another 45 minutes. But yeah, still a lot to be done. I'm just getting all my stuff out for the day. I'm so sorry about that corner over there. I don't know what's causing that little glare. Hopefully my phone's not broken. I literally just dropped it before filming in the sink. Oh, and for like the first time ever, I dropped my phone in the toilet the other day at the movie theater after seeing Imaginary. Not a great movie, but you know, better than the was a Night Swim movie. It's a long sleeve day today, 69 degrees I think, so long sleeves. So I've developed a habit where when I start the shower, I brush my teeth, wash my face, and do my lip scrub all before jumping in, because it all requires me to like wash something. But I don't do like the other steps because then like it'll wash off in the water. So I've started a routine of doing that before hopping in. And then when I get out, I do the rest, which usually starts with my ears and moves on to other steps. Anyways, I'm gonna turn on the water. We're gonna do the steps and let's get started with today. I'm gonna check to see if the little smudge is real quick. It was my hand sanitizer. It was this little guy. Anyways, let's start the shower. Just switched up perfume, so I forgot to light my candle. Hair tie for when I do my makeup and all that. So let's get this. to apologize if it's a little steamy in here. I like my water very hot when I shower. As my husband used to call it, Satan's piss water. So we're gonna do a little scrub. Last but not least, I'm going to take off my glasses, put them on the side, I'm going to wash the face, and then hop in. Alright, see you guys in a second. Hello all. Let's finish up the routine. And then we're gonna go get ready in the bedroom. I don't know why this happens. I feel like this is like a defense. But what am I defending against? So much hair. Like, it doesn't look like it, especially when I brush it out. But when it dries, oh my god, I have a lot of hair. Just hoping you guys don't fall. Something I love about having short hair when I get my pixie cut is that it's easier to brush out. Girl, that's brushed. Then take the hair out. I added a new hairbrush to my Amazon shopping list, and it's a Jack Skellington one, so I'll probably be getting that soon and then tossing Old Faithful. I've had this brush for so many years now. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this hairspray. So this hair mist technically is supposed to be used on like dry hair overnight, but when it's a suggested use, so it says apply daily on the scalp when needed with your head tilted back to avoid contact with eyes. Best applied 1 to 3 hours before bedtime. Your scalp must be dry. I don't usually spray it when my hair is dry, even my other ones. I don't know if it have any negative effect. Let me see. Apply 4 to 6 short pushes. Immediately spread and gently massage. Let air dry. Do not use a towel. Do not apply to enhance penetration. What the hell? Oh, do not apply to broken, injured, irritated, or damp, wet scalp. It doesn't say why though. So my hair feels fine, but it's a different bottle than what I'm used to. So let's just spray it. Oh, it smells putrid. Brush that through. I don't know if maybe like they don't trust it in wet hair, and maybe it doesn't stay properly, but I've never had issues with any of the other ones, but I know not all hair mists are made equal. There we go. Brushed it through. The reason why I don't spray my scalp anymore before I brush it is because I found that it made my hair even more tangly with the sprays that I used. So what I do now is I brush out my hair and then I spray. Let's go ahead and braid the hair. If you've ever used this product and you know why it's not supposed to be used on wet hair, let me know in the comments, because I'd be curious to know why it should not be applied to wet hair. Now I'm not going to keep my hair in a braid because it's a day off, so we're going to let the hair flow and be nice and flowy. Thankfully, my husband and I are at a point where with our taxes we still don't owe anything, so that's a good thing. Plus we haven't combined finances or anything, so which is fine, not a big deal. And we're going to use whatever we get back for when we go to Vegas. So we're going to take it out of the bank and then we are going to put it in our safe so we don't touch it. Oh, and then I have a fun day tomorrow. Tomorrow I get to go to the DMV. Oh, my mother-in-law texted me. I get to go to the DMV and go to change my last name on my license. Why I've been delaying this? Because I was without a job. And I don't know if they charge you something in order to do that or not. So I wanted to wait till I actually had money in order to do it. And I was gonna do it after work on Monday. Yeah, never doing that again. Tell me why the DMV gets so fucking busy at 2 o'clock on a Monday? How the hell does that make sense? Because to me it didn't. I'm gonna check to see what my mother-in-law said. I'll be back. She was texting me about my sister-in-law's quinceañera. So if you guys don't know what a quinceañera is, it's a Latina woman's coming of age party where she becomes a woman. It's a very nice ceremony, very fun too. Lots of dancing, good food, lots of very nice traditions, which I'm gonna be filming a lot of it because I love my sister-in-law and I'm so proud of her. And I never got to have a quinceañera myself. So I am living vicariously through my beautiful sister-in-law. Also, Luis and I, oh, she made the invitations. My husband and I are what's called padrinos de honor, which I had to ask him what that meant, and he didn't know. So then, and my mother-in-law knows I don't speak Spanish that well anymore. So I asked her, I said, hey, do you know what that means? And she goes, oh yeah, it means you're honorary godparents. Let me tell you, I only have one nephew right now, and he is the light of my life. But his parents are Viking heritage, and they follow Viking religious laws and all that. So I am nobody's godparent at the moment, and I have a cousin on my dad's side, but I'm obviously not his godparent either. I never thought I'd be a godparent, let alone an honorary godparent. I know it's not an actual godparent, but to be like an honorary godparent, I honestly almost started tearing up. I'm pretty sure Luis is also part of the ceremony in some way. I feel so embarrassed, like I'm Mexican or of Latin descent, and I don't know much about what goes on during a quinceañera, which I feel like I should, but I never had one myself. And my relatives never really, my female relatives on my dad's side never really talked about their own quinceañeras. So I don't know exactly what goes on. I've been to like, I think one when I was 14. No, I was like 16. And the woman who had her quinceañera was like 15. But they treated it almost like a wedding. And, oh, not there. And I'm curious if that's like all quinceañeras or just that one quinceañera. Because at the time, she had a boyfriend. And they had, I think, like a priest there. And she had like her girls next to her. And like he had guys next to him. This literally felt like a wedding ceremony. And I was like, this is interesting. But it was hilarious because I went with my ex at the time. And then like 3 of our mutual friends. And the hilarious thing was that we were like sat in the corner of the room, kind of like almost away from everybody. And we were all looking around and we're like, we're the designated white table. I keep forgetting I don't have my rollie anymore. I'm hoping I sprayed on my face. It feels like it did. You guys will tell me. I also finally got some more hand scrub. I trust my mother-in-law. I'm sure she knows where everyone's sitting, what everything's gonna be going on. I'm really excited. The quinceañera, I think, was initially supposed to be in like January. So we would have gone by now. But she said, no, we're gonna do it in April. And we were kind of wondering when, because when Luis and I heard April, we kind of had a panic attack because we have Vegas at the end of April. But then she told us, oh no, it's gonna be at the beginning. And we're like, okay, thank God. And then my parents dropped another bombshell on us that they were gonna be going to South Carolina in April. So we just had to make sure that the beginning of April didn't line up, and then Toby would have to go to like the Amarta's place, whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna go get ready in the bedroom. Okay, so now it's time to do makeup. I am currently, I normally would listen to like some kind of jazz themed thing to get in the mood for what I'm doing today, but I found a reviewer who I had never heard of before. Her name is Possessed by Horror, and I'm currently watching her review on Imaginary. The reason I clicked on it is because I personally don't like the movie. It was okay, but like it could have been so much better. Hubby liked it. It's obviously not one of Blumhouse's best. So when I saw she really like was gonna review it, I was like, okay, cool. You know, I'll watch her review because I want to see what other people are currently thinking. And for like the past 5.5 minutes, I mean, like, obviously everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but she's been shitting on Blumhouse's movies and well, at least for the past year, and the company itself, which I get it. Like, Blumhouse definitely isn't what it used to be. However, and I want to watch her review on Black Phone if she has it, because she said she didn't like it, and I want to know why, because I loved Black Phone. But she didn't really like much of the movies, and I think she missed one. No, she didn't. Yeah, she did. Didn't Blumhouse do FNAF? Because she was saying the movies for the past year weren't that great, but I'm just kind of listening to it and like my blood's boiling because I'm a little biased to Blumhouse. Like, even if they release, you know, bad movies, I'm still gonna watch it because, like she said, to their credit, they're making original movies. They're not doing like dumb sequels to movies that already exist, or remakes, or live action bullshit. And I think what she meant by sequels was like they're not taking like pre-existing movies and making sequels. Like, they're obviously continuing their Conjuring and other franchises. But I don't know, like, I feel like it's kind of too harsh, but again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So I can't say one way or another how people are supposed to feel, because you can't do that. Everyone's got to feel what they feel, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But obviously, just for me, I personally love Blumhouse. I still get excited when seeing the logo, despite what movies to come, because you can't automatically, like, I mean, you can judge it by the trailer, but, like, you can't automatically assume it's going to be bad. Am I saying Imaginary is good? No. But in my opinion, I think Blumhouse did release some good movies in the past year, but that's just me. I'm gonna have a review in the background so if you guys can hear it. I'd give it a watch. I'll link it in the description box, and I'll also put a channel there too. This isn't technically a reacting, but I still want to do that because I want to give her credit, so I'm gonna play it.
Which I feel like we can, some of these can go straight to streaming, you know, I mean, some of them do, like they/them and whatnot. Imaginary Night Swim could have gone straight to streaming, would not have been mad at that. And I think it's honestly just for money at this point. That's what it feels like, because they're not taking on these original scripts and like these bigger original ideas, and they're just taking these simple, like, cheesy cash grabs that are like popcorn movies, which is fine. There is an audience for popcorn movies, don't get me wrong. And I also don't want to be completely unfair with Blumhouse, because I'm sure if I looked at any production company, like A24 even, there's going to be movies within them that they've done that I don't like. Like, it's not like Blumhouse is special in that they only take on bad movies, because obviously in the past they've taken on really great scripts. So I don't want to be completely unfair, because of course I'm looking at them, you know, a little bit more, I'm, you know, scrutinizing them a little bit more than I do any other production company. But the overall general reaction that I seem to see, at least with my following and my viewers and whatnot, is yet another Blumhouse movie. Like, we all kind of know what we're getting with a Blumhouse movie. Like, we all know what it means when we say yet another Blumhouse movie, you know? So I have not been excited for Blumhouse for a long time. Definitely was not excited for Imaginary. This is a movie I was dreading more than Night Swim. Night Swim, I kind of wanted to have an open mind. I'm just gonna be real with you. I did not have an open mind going into Imaginary. I knew it was gonna be terrible. I did not know it was going to be that bad. This is a movie. There's only like 3 movies, including Imaginary, that I would have walked out on. Like, that's how bad it was. And I've never walked out of a movie ever in my life, but I've had the urge to a handful of times. And this was one of those times. Like, if it wasn't going to be a video, there's no way I would have stayed for the rest of this movie. So let's get into the actual review of this movie, and I'll tell you exactly why it was so terrible. Before we get into spoilers, I'll just give a general overview that there was...
The one thing I really don't appreciate, at least in this video, is when she says why it was so terrible. Like, I'm gonna explain to you why it was bad. I would say why I thought it was bad, because you don't know what other people's opinions is gonna be. That would just be like my only, hey, maybe you need to like back off a titchy bit. But I can understand when people are so passionate about how they feel in like a studio or a movie that they, you know, will say like, it's bad, consensus, it's bad. We're just gonna say it's bad without regarding how anyone else feels.
One single drop of originality in this movie. Everything was predictable. Everything was a cliche, down to...
She predicted the Imaginary Land?
Dialogue. The dialogue was probably some of the worst writing I have ever seen in a movie, and I have to say this is definitely one of the worst movies that I have seen probably in the last like 10 years. It's really bad. All of the characters were completely devoid of humanity. Like, none of them felt real at all. They attempted a storyline to get you to emotionally connect with the main character, Jessica. That did not work for me. There's no connection at all between the characters, and also between the characters and the viewer. And with that, there is no tension. I literally did not care what was happening in this movie. Like, I wasn't curious where it was going to go. I knew exactly where it was going to go, unfortunately, and there was no tension. Like, there was no suspense as to what was going to happen, or what, you know, who was going to die, or what the characters were going to do. Like, there was no interest at all maintained. It was so strange how much it sucked the life out of these people. Again, it felt like AI wrote this movie, and I'm not kidding, because the characters were so strange to me. They're cliches that they were, which I'll get into specifics and give examples for every single character that's in this movie, because every single one of them was a cliche that has also been in another movie. But the dialogue didn't make any sense. It felt like these were fake people. Like, it was really creepy in a weird way, not in like a good, like, oh, I'm creeped out. It was like these people were saying things that were just bizarre. I'm just gonna get into spoilers. I really feel like there's no need for me to like try to avoid
Spoilers ahead.
At this point, you don't need to go see this. Like, this is 100%, I can guarantee you can just watch on streaming if you even still want to watch it. Like, if it's something you're still interested in, watch it on streaming, please. It's not a theater experience. So we open the movie with the best scene in the movie. It was very cliche, but it wasn't like terrible. It was kind of like Night Swim level, where it was like, all right, it's fine. But then it turns out it's a dream sequence. So the best part of the movie was all in a dream, and that pretty much stayed consistent for the entire movie. And to me, that the opening scene was pretty much the only one that really had any tension or horror elements in it at all. We see a tooth was pulled out, we see like the spider creature, and I've seen some people excited to see the monsters in this movie. Don't be. Do not. The first scene has the best one with the spider dad, her dad that's like turns into a spider. That's it. It wasn't great, but it was the strongest part of the movie, I guess. I just really want to talk about the cliche characters mostly in this review, because what the hell was that? What were these people? Why would you write these people this way? So we have the main protagonist, Jessica, who forgets a chunk of her childhood. Very cliche. A parent who has died, right? There's like some emotional backstory here. And like, she's a little estranged with her father. He changed when they lived in the house. Something happened. She disappeared for a while, and she has no recollection of any of that. Then, of course, we have the little girl who has an imaginary friend who is evil, the bear, Chauncey, which it turns out the bear actually doesn't even exist either. So the bear is not real. And only Jessica could see it, and the little girl Alice, because it was the same imaginary demon entity, I'm gonna say, evil entity that's made up in children's imaginations that links onto children and follows them around forever. But they present as like a bear, for instance, and it was actually Jessica's original imaginary friend, Chauncey, in the bear that she just forgot about, right? Conveniently, just forgot. We have the snarky teenager who is actually soft at heart, you know, in the end. She comes around. She doesn't like Jessica. She doesn't like her stepmom.
Conveniently just forgot. I really didn't think about my imaginary friends from when I was a kid until I rewatched this movie. And at the time, like, if you were to ask me, oh, who are your imaginary friends, I'd be like, I don't know. But then, like, when I watched it, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember their names were, I think, Sarah and Miranda. Sarah was a bully. Miranda was sweet. Like, we just forget things. I doubt any of you really remember your imaginary friends until you either saw this movie or until you heard me brought it up.
Their mom is, like, unwell, and she was in it for a minute, and that scene with the mother was just so weird. That did not need to be in that movie. They could have removed that. But of course the teen is, you know, being a teenager. She had like a little side story with like the romantic guy. Didn't need him. He didn't even die, so there really was no point to her having like a crush on the neighbor. Completely unnecessary. There were a lot of things that just could have been removed. This movie was way too long for them to have like this stuff going on. Take it out, make it an hour 20. We don't need an hour and 45 minutes of this movie. Okay, there's a scene in the end where the game that Chauncey invents, it's something that makes you happy, something that burns, and then you have to do something that hurts. And the teenager, it's like her sister's missing, went into the never ever, into the wall, right? They're trying to find the girl. The little girl's missing, and she's like, something that hurts. Should I send a bitchy text? Why would you send a bitchy text? It was such a bizarre thing to say in that moment. It was so weird. The absent husband, you're probably wondering, you know, she's the stepmom. Where's the dad? Exactly. Absent. He's an absent dad, who also happens to be in a band. he's in a band, and conveniently he has a tour happening, so he has to be out of the state,
He wasn't an absent father. He had to go on a tour with his band, but it was clear he loved his girls in the movie and was there for them, and they loved him.
I don't know, he's out of town, right? Conveniently when all this stuff is going down. So it's just Jessica. Why is he in a band? Why is he in a band? Why is he touring? Why is he leaving? They needed to make him leave in order for the movie to progress, because there'd be too many helpers, right? Too many people helping if he was in town. So let's just have him go on tour. The children's therapist. This character was probably the funniest line in the whole movie that I audibly laughed out loud at, because it was just so weird. Why would she say this? So obviously, generic cliche, they hire a therapist, right? Because the daughter is like trying to hurt herself because of the game that Chauncey invented. That's when it reveals that the bear is not real, and because the bear is talking in the voice of Alice. But Alice has her mouth closed, okay? So you can still hear her speaking, but it's actually the bear, but the bear is not real. And the therapist is like, what is going on? She leaves the room and goes up to Jessica and is like, has she been into any new hobbies lately, like ventriloquism? What therapist would be like,
this review of Imaginary has my blood boiling. You know how, like, people are obviously entitled to their own opinions.
Yeah.
Like, you can hate on something, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone's gonna like everything.
Yeah.
But, like, the way she started this out, she goes, I'm gonna tell you why this movie was bad.
Uh-huh.
Like, just know, like, she obviously, like, explained her distaste for Blumhouse right now.
Yeah.
And, like, she kind of went in depth as to why, like, their movies aren't that great in the past year. Which is fine, again. Entitled to your own opinion. But the way she talks about Imaginary, it's like she goes, I can predict everything that's going to happen in this movie. And I'm sitting back like, you predicted that Imaginary, like, world? You predicted that? I don't know, like, this video is kind of, like, boiling my...
Doesn't that sound familiar, though?
Did I really say I could predict the Imaginary world?
No, but with other movies?
Yeah, but at least with those other movies, there's a little more understanding.
I understand. Imaginary
No, it was garbage.
wasn't that Imaginary.
No, and yeah, it sucked. It wasn't great.
For some people, yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
I don't know, it's just the way she's, like...
There is the tone of her voice.
It is.
Talking and stuff.
It is. Like, hang on, let me hit play.
is she a ventriloquist? Because she was talking and her mouth wasn't moving. What do you mean? What do you mean? Why did you say that? I'm sorry? Has she known any hobbies lately, like ventriloquism? No, she's like bizarre. Who wrote that? Who wrote it, actually? Oh, it was written by Jeff Wadlow as well, Greg Erb, and Jason Oremland. It was distributed by Lionsgate also, by the way. Anyway, see, it makes just enough profit. I'm going to sidetrack for a second because I'm on the Wikipedia page. It makes just enough profit for them to keep making these kind of movies, these lower budget type movies. The budget for this was 10 to 12 million, which is kind of on the low end for a horror movie, right? I should also mention this PG-13, and nothing happened. But yeah, no horror really. There's like a little bit of special effects here and there, but otherwise it didn't need to be a high budget. And it made so far $11.3 million. So it's right in that profit period. And I anticipate it's going to make more than that because it's only been out for, I don't know, a week. Then the last character that I want to talk about is the old neighbor.
Yeah, I didn't like her. She was very unnecessary. Like, she kind of just came up out of nowhere. It was like, I'm the exposition lady. That I can agree with.
Just knows everything there is to know about what's going on conveniently because she used to babysit Jessica when Jessica was a little girl, so she remembers everything that happened in Jessica's life naturally. So much so, she actually wrote a book on it. So she has all the info, everything you need to know about what's going on with Chauncey and why he's haunting them. this old lady knows exactly why. So she's only there. I hate when movies do this, where they create a character that is so obviously just there to over-explain everything to the viewer and the characters within the movie, only for them to be the only one to die in the movie. The old lady is the only one to die, and it happens out of screen, off screen, out of frame, whatever, behind a door. You don't see anything. You see some blood. And they do that because we don't actually care about her. I don't mind that this is a PG-13 movie. I really don't mind. I love PG-13 movies. A lot of these here are PG-13 movies. You can do so much with that and make it horrifying. You can have people actually die. I don't know if they do that, but in a PG-13, you can actually have deaths in it. I know. They obviously didn't want to kill the children. I get it. I probably wouldn't either in this kind of story. It's unnecessary. They could have killed the boyfriend, the guy, you know, that the team was interested in. He was introduced for no other reason other than showing some kind of horror element because, you know, Chauncey tried to come at him, but it just had to have a happy ending. It just had to, and you don't need that in a PG-13 movie. I think some people watch movies like this and say, I don't like PG-13 movies because these are the movies that give that rating a bad rap, when that is completely not the case. I've done a video on PG-13 movies, all my favorites. You can go watch it. There is a right way to do it, and you don't need a lot of gore. Obviously, you don't need a lot of violence or anything really. You just need a good atmosphere and tension building, maybe 1 or 2 deaths. They actually could have only killed the woman if it was for a reason. Her death felt so unnecessary. Her character in general was only there to move the plot along, to over-explain why this thing was happening.
I agree with that.
Her book that she wrote on it, and then they're about to leave, but then she dies behind a door in the Never Ever. I will say the Never Ever, not that bad. It had a cool concept. I love that kind of like Backrooms vibe that it had. I really do like when movie settings do that, where it's like bizarre. It kind of felt a little bit like Interstellar in the end, right? With the bookcase scene, it kind of felt like that never-ending hallway of doors, and I thought that was cool. So that had potential, but then you could tell when the special effects ended and they were just on a set, and it was just like a couple doors, and it just wasn't executed very well with the special effects. That was my main issue, were all of the cliche characters that were literally copy and pasted from other movies. Not one thing about any of them was original. Nothing. Also the cliche of her like moving back into her dad's house once they move him into a facility so she can like, you know, fix it up and just kind of live there. A little cliche, like moving into an old house. You know, why do movies have to start with like a family moving into a house? Like, I feel like we can move past that concept now, right? Anyway, it just ends up being like a pretty happy ending. It's really nothing. It's exactly probably how you would expect it to go, with the rescuing of Alice and everything like that. I'm not even gonna say that this movie had potential, because I really don't feel like it did. Like I said, basic little writing prompt that could have been better, definitely, but didn't need to be made at all. Like I just felt like the story and idea and concept and everything was just so cheesy and bad, and just definitely not my kind of movie for sure. And I never really criticize audiences of movies because I am not someone to, you know, shit on someone else's favorite movies or anything like that, because I like some bad movies, right? Don't get me wrong. But I genuinely wonder if there are people who like this movie, but also if you do, why? Because there are so many fundamental, like basic movie elements that are missing from this movie that it really makes me question your taste a little bit. Just a little bit, okay? I'm not trying to be judgy or anything about what you like and don't like, whatever. I just don't know how you can love movies and watch Imaginary and like it. I'm sorry. I had to say it. I know that's mean. That's so mean. Like I said, I'm gonna be the meanest I've probably ever been in a video. But I don't get it. There are no redeeming qualities about this movie. I know it's really harsh. There's nothing in it. I'm done talking about it. I feel like we should just move on, because you get it. You get it. You get that it's bad. And I'm sure people are going to be curious about it still. So wait till streaming. Watch it. See if you like it. Anyway, now that we've kind of gotten through the Blumhouses of the year, I'm genuinely looking forward to this month. Specifically, we got Love Lies Bleeding, we have Late Night with the Devil, we have Immaculate. I really feel like we're on our way to getting some really good horror movies this year. So I am optimistic about the rest of the year now that we have gotten those. I'm going to try to review all those movies I listed this month. So keep an eye out for that. And let me know your most anticipated movie of...
I agree, obviously. It was a bad movie.
Yeah.
It was really bad. She said it was worse than Night Swim, though. No. She goes, at least Night Swim looked like it had potential. I'm like, the Imaginary trailer looked better than the Night Swim one. I'm so sorry for the random video that we watched while I did my makeup. I was just curious about your opinion. Yeah, she did say she was gonna be mean, which is fine. You know, obviously feel what you want to feel. Like I said, it's not good. It is not a good movie. But I think people should be entitled to make their own opinions and not just be told it's a bad movie, don't watch it, or oh, let me tell you why why it is bad. People need to form their own opinions. I don't know, that's just me. Whenever I do my reviews, I never say oh, this one was bad, or oh, this sucked. I say hey, it wasn't my favorite, let me tell you why. I think that's a lot better than let me tell you why this movie is not one you should watch, or oh, this movie sucks. I don't know, I just felt it was a little too harsh, but she said she was gonna be harsh. She did say she was gonna be harsh. So today we're doing our taxes, and my taxes are like the amount of forms I got was a lot. Cause tell me why I didn't put my deodorant in my drawer. Cause last year I was still trying to find a good job for myself, something I wanted to stick with. And I just didn't. And finally I found where I am today. So I plan to stay here as long as possible. Hopefully for a good number of years. It's an easy job, honestly. And 9 times out of 10, people will tell you what they want. And if they don't know what they want, the computer will tell them what they want. And then we just kind of go from there. Pretty sure, I don't know whether I lost my eyeliner or I just didn't pull it out, but I'm using a new one. And I like how it looks. It's really smooth. Although, it broke easily, so I don't know. Anywho. And I found my new lipstick. It was in a box that I forgot about. The cold days in California are coming to an end. We have a few days of really sunny weather, and then we are back to the high 60s, but then we go back to the 70s. We are definitely heading into our California spring. Hopefully the tax place is only like 9 minutes away, 10 minutes away. But I'm a little bit late. I say that as I'm like massaging hand sanitizer in my hands. And make sure Luis printed out his tax forms because he gets his electronically. Last thing. He's always so afraid every year, like, I don't want to go to jail, let's go do our taxes. I'm like, babe, we're not gonna go to jail.